For those who I don't know, my name is Dan Gittler. I lead the field service product. And with that, today we're going to talk about everything that's coming around the corner. So before we go into like the future and all the details of it, I just wanted to pause and just, I don't expect everyone to read this. We've been very, very busy delivering a lot of value. This is just like a subset of capabilities we put out there over the last couple of years. And one of the things that's really exciting is very hot off the press. We, every 2 years, IDC goes through a ranking of the different field service products along with other quadrants. And we are officially named a leader. We're all the way to the top in terms of capabilities, and we're really excited to get this result. And it's a byproduct of all the work we did, but also all of our customers. And I know that there's a lot of interviews and validation. So I thank everybody on the call for being a part of this and helping us get to this ranking. And so with that, I always like to start out with our mission. It's really been the same since I've been doing this, which is basically since I'm born. It's manage, schedule, and perform. It's managing work. It's managing resources. It's making sure the right technician gets the job assigned at the right time with the right equipment, and then giving the frontline worker or technician the tools to do the job. What we're seeing, though, is an acceleration of this pattern with AI at the center of it, and I look forward to talking to you more about that a little bit later on in this presentation. Before we jump into our AI investments, though, I do want to focus on what our priorities are and go through a couple of the non-agentic areas as a starting point. So we have 4 core priorities. One, always fundamental, stay secure, always dedicating capacity to this and making sure it's performance, secure, our right to innovate. The second is our core product evolution, followed by our agentic work and our scheduling operations agent. And so we're going to start out focusing on our core product evolution and talk about what's coming over the next 6 to 12 months. And so back to that pattern of manage, schedule, perform. Within that manage bucket, about a little inside Microsoft, about a year ago, we actually got reorganized into the AI ERP organizationally. Product, technology, everything stays the same. But the vision for this was that with every single field service deployment, there's a need to integrate with an ERP. There's no exceptions to that, right? Some of them might be the Microsoft. It could be, and of course, it could be third-party ERPs as well, which is very, very common. But what we're doing with this is we're really focusing on making sure it's an end-to-end offering, including the back-end pieces on the ERP side. And so we released recently a couple of different integrations. One of them is with Business Central, which makes it so that now when you kick off field service and you want to just integrate with Business Central, it's plug and play. And the other was our first stab at the finance and operations integration. But what we're doing now, and this is going to be released in the next 3 weeks, our first version of this, is we're going further with our F&O integration. And so what we're doing is we're actually unifying our integration back to F&O, but we're using the project operations construct for that integration. So what this is going to enable everyone to do is you'll be able to link a work order to a project. That'll allow all of my transactions to be on a respective project, which makes it a lot easier to track all the financials from a given long-running project, but also use that to integrate back to F&O. So with that, I have about a 1-minute video just to show you what's coming in a couple of weeks, and then we'll go a little bit deeper into it.
We're strengthening the connection between your service and project teams by enhancing integration between field service and the Dynamics 365 ERP portfolio. Field service work orders and agreements can be directly linked to your existing projects in project operations, whether you use the application standalone or integrated with finance and supply chain management, bringing all the labor and material from your fieldwork together in one place, including both estimates and actuals. Additionally, we now support dual write between field service and finance and supply chain management, allowing your field service data to feed financials and inventory. These enhancements give you a unified view of labor, material, costs, margins, and forecasts, without extra spreadsheets or double entry, to maintain a more seamless and connected supply chain.
Hopefully that gives a good idea of it. So taking a little bit of a double click on it, in essence, within the field service side, you create work orders, you complete it, all of that flows back through project operations. And even if you're using not F&O for the ERP, if you're using an SAP, you're using Oracle, That in of itself makes it a lot easier to integrate, but also gives you one holistic financial container to leverage. And of course, if you're integrated with F&O, that'll flow back. There's a couple other like sub bullets that are worth calling out, which might not be apparent in the video. And these are for specifically if you're integrating with F&O. All the estimated parts before the job is done and the estimated labor, that will all synchronize. And so that means that you can use the master planning capabilities in F&O to do all your forecasting for parts and labor. Offline will be supported, serialized inventory batch, and the financial alignment, whether or not you have F&O, as I mentioned before. So this is phase one. This is coming in about 3 weeks' time. So it'll go straight to GA. So we look forward to hearing your feedback on it. This is just the beginning of it, though. We're already working on our phase two. So everything we've talked about is sort of after the fact. How do we get it all connected up? But we're also going to be bringing in the planning capabilities together with project operations and field service. And this opens up a lot of scenarios in complex service. So if I'm doing a large installation, or think of oil and gas, utilities, right, where I stand up these projects that can last days, weeks, months, or even years, you'll be able to have the, in the work breakdown structure, you can have a combination of tasks that are done by people behind a desk. So it might just be getting blueprints, filing permits. But then as part of it as well, I need to send out a technician to do an inspection or do the actual work. And so the planning side of this is going to come together as well to offer really, really robust, complex service scenario for field service organizations. With this is a cornerstone, a building block. And what we're also building up to is we're focusing on the scenario on asset as a service. We're seeing this more and more. So just like with technology, we went from buying a perpetual license and then optional maintenance. You pay whatever it was, 18% per year. And there was a shift over to SaaS. This is happening a lot with large equipment as well. So you could see this across a bunch of different industries where organizations are shifting their business model. They're the ones that are owning the asset, but instead of selling it, they're actually leasing it out to customers. And so what I showed you before about connecting the F&O with field service, that's a key part of it. Because if they own the asset, they have to track depreciation, capitalization, but provide service. But in order to hit this asset as a service scenario, we're doing more as well. So another item that we're doing is we're beefing up our maintenance planning capabilities. So we're going to be able to do usage-based maintenance very, very shortly, so that instead of doing it on a calendar basis, which is monthly or quarterly, you'll actually be able to establish, and you can send in the signals through IoT or maybe just through visual inspection and entering it. So the classic scenario everyone can relate to is a car. I might get the oil change when it's 10,000, when it's been 10,000 miles or 3 months. So the trigger, which can come from usage, is something that we're going to be adding as well, along with a bunch of other asset-centric capabilities. So this is another area we're very excited about and beefing up our maintenance planning capabilities here. And then just for those who might have not seen at Microsoft Convergence just about, I think in November, we announced that there will be an overall rental management offering. And this is going to be combining a bunch of different products. Field service is serving as the service and maintenance portion of it. But all of these capabilities you saw that I just explained is also building up to Microsoft offering a comprehensive rental solution to the market. So I know that's a lot of information. I'll go ahead and I'll check the chat afterwards. But this covers the manage portion of what we're delivering. So moving on to the scheduling portion of it, most of the investments here you're going to see later in the because we have a dedicated scheduling operations agent section in this presentation. But I just wanted to call out that recently we did release a new schedule board. It was it's seamless, so it's not like an opt-in. You'll just your customers will see a faster, newer experience. But also we're kind of focusing a lot on paper cuts. So you could see things that customers have asked for, such as customizing the days that I can see within the board, or easier to kind of share schedule boards. So we recently released a bunch of these usability enhancements within the board that customers should already see. Performance is also key. So you're going to see 60% faster when you're creating a booking, 50% faster when I'm just searching for availability with the schedule assistant, and 30% when you just open up the board for the first time. So we're going to continue to focus heavily on performance within the board as well. And coming soon, we're going to continue on that investment where we're constantly just looking at the small usability enhancements to make. So you'll see that if I have a multi-day booking on the board, it'll be a lot easier to edit. I can just right click and I can make edits from there. I know this is very exciting for those in I know Europe is very focused on week numbers, and so we've added week numbers as well is coming, as well as a full map view and the ability to move bookings in bulk. So you'll see these trickle out consistently, so just keep your eyes on the release notes. And the final bucket within the theme of the core product investments is about the technician experience, is about performing. So just because I know not everyone reads all the field service news, I'm going to call out like one or two items that we've released recently. We've added the ability to integrate calendars with field service and Exchange / Outlook and Teams. And so this has been an ask for quite a while, where if you want to use your Outlook or Teams calendar for all your appointments, some of them are field service, some of them not. This is something that is now available, and wanted to call that out for the group. As well as we've made a lot of enhancements to the mobile overall experience when it comes to performance. So just calling out these recent investments. So looking ahead, what are we focusing on within the technician area? We're focusing on two different buckets. We're focusing on UX and simplifying the overall user experience along with performance. So what we're doing with the UX is we're building a series of controls which will get technicians further and further away from kind of the forms over data interface. So I'm going to show you a few concrete examples of what we're going to be delivering over the next couple of months. One is just, how do I make it so technicians click less in the app? One of the ways we do that is by showing more information at once on any of the views. So on the left side, you can see the current view. And on the right side, you can see now we'll be able to add a lot more fields. We'll get rid of the icon, which wasn't really adding value. And this will be applicable to any time that you have a list view within the mobile app. The other one, and I'm sure everyone will smile at this, is the accidental tap through. So for example, we see on the left, anything that has a hyperlink, such as a priority. As a technician, I never need to edit the priority, but if I click on it, it might take me into that edit experience. So you'll have the ability to disable hyperlinks in the mobile app so that the click targets and the touch targets are a lot simpler, and you don't accidentally clicking a hyperlink and go somewhere in the app that you didn't intend on, and you didn't intend on clicking. Lookups. On the left-hand side, we could see the current experience. It's the web view kind of shrunk down to mobile, and there's items on the bottom like new and change view and things that technicians don't necessarily need. So you'll see any lookup field will have a much more mobile friendly lookup experience for technicians. And the last item is all about booking status. This is the most, our telemetry shows the field that's changed and used the most is the booking status. So we'll have a dedicated experience to click a big target that says scheduled. I can click it and edit my booking status with a nice intuitive dropdown. And I thought the last was the last, but this is the last one I'll talk through here, which is note taking. So we're going to have again, a mobile friendly way to just take notes that's critical for technicians. So I'll be able to just click a button really easily with a big touch target, such as the add note, title, description, and then the ability to add multiple images all at once, which will simplify the user experience greatly. And so with that, I'll just take a moment. I'm not going to drain this, but we're also have a lot of investments that are coming in for faster and reliable sync time, better offline support. And we're also going to make sure to give a tool to makers of the app where it's very flexible in terms of what data you choose to sync offline. Sometimes we're going to try to help you catch it if you configure it and there's way more data than you need based on usage. We're going to give the makers of the app, our customers, tools to help guide them and say and give guidance as to what you should tweak in your offline profile to make it as performant as possible. And so with that, we move into the next category, which is all about evolving field service with co-pilots and agents. And so before we go into that, into the specific features, I just wanted to anchor a little bit in how we think about the investments within field service within AI. So there's really three categories. It's how do we change the experience so that the technicians are able to use Copilot as the primary UI. The second one is all about workflow automation. And the third one is really about how do we get the knowledge to the technicians so that they don't have to start spending all their time just searching for a document or searching for history. And that's really the third bucket of where we're investing in AI within field service. So I will skip through a couple of slides on what we've delivered because I'm looking at the clock and running a little low on time here. So some items that are coming shortly is basically doc Q&A within the mobile application. So this is super common for technicians where they just need to understand from all the manuals, how do I fix this, right? They deal with many different pieces of equipment. Not everyone's an expert in everything. And so the amount of time that they spend just trying to find manuals is really large number. So what we're able to do here is bringing in the document Q&A into the mobile experience itself, so that if the technician says, show me how to access the turbine engine, it'll go back, it'll look at your documents, it'll pull the information, it'll surface it up, and then from there, the technician will have a link as well to open up that manual where it got that data from. And so this is something specifically for technicians that is really, really critical when they're in the field. And the other item is, and I'm sure some people saw the some announcements about some of these features coming to the web, but we're going to make it so that within the mobile application, you can actually surface up any of your custom agents that you might have built right within the mobile app itself. So of course, anything that we have out of the box that you want to use, great, but there's always scenarios that you're going to build might be part of the same agent, it might be a different one. And so we're going to make sure that those are really easy to access. So if you're building your own Copilot Studio agent, the technicians can stay in the same application and just be able to access them from the mobile app itself. Okay, and now I'm going to move into one it's early on in the process, but I want to call it out because we are looking for some customers to partner with together on this. And so one item that's been a challenging area for some time is the subcontractor scenarios, but really about subcontractors that do 1 or 2 jobs a month or a year, right? Those who are working kind of full time, they just happen to have a different like company that they technically get paid by. That's great. You use the mobile application, you're in good shape. But what we're trying to make it a lot easier for those subcontractors who might do a job a year to not have to download a mobile application, keep it really simple. And so we're working on an agent in early phase to help with this. So the concept is I send the agent the job. In this case, it's over email. I send the subcontractor, excuse me, they get an email with the job information. And then instead of them having to go through and install a whole mobile app, they just reply to the email. It can be text. They can attach pictures. They can just write it on paper and attach that if they want. And then from there, we'll take that on the back end and we'll automatically extract all that data from whatever format they sent, map it to the right fields, and then you can have someone that approves it. So if this is something that it's something that you would like to partner with on, please do reach out. We're looking for some key customers to help guide us and validate the idea and move it forward. So just wanted to call this out and in case it's something that resonates with anyone on the call. And the last item to focus on is updating work orders using Copilot. So we talked before about the idea of the 3 buckets of where we're thinking about AI. This is a great example of leveraging Copilot as your user experience. So we already have in market in preview a version of this, and we're going to continue to build on it. So the idea is that a technician, instead of clicking through all the fields, they just use natural language. They say, hey, I got to the job at a certain time. Here's what I did. We'll then take that, give a nice experience that lets them confirm everything, let them know if they missed out on any information, and then go ahead and get the sign off. So it's a whole different paradigm of how to interact with the application, just using free flow text or speak to it, and then we'll do the heavy lifting of mapping mapping all the information to the proper fields and get that sign off. And so this is something else that we are currently working on. And so with that, we go to our final bucket, which is our scheduling operations agent. And so for those who are unfamiliar, I'm going to play a quick video because the first version of this is already out in market today. So it's about a 60-second video, and then I'll talk about what's coming next.
With Microsoft's Scheduling Operations Agent, managers can leverage AI to find the most optimized schedule for their workforce in Dynamics 365 Field Service. For many businesses, unexpected scheduling changes can occur throughout the day, from weather delays and last-minute cancellations to waiting for parts to arrive, causing a ripple of tedious manual tasks. Today, one of our technicians called to say that their current booking has fallen through, so they're free to take on other work. Using Scheduling Operations Agent, all I need to do is ask the agent to suggest a new schedule and specify which individual to schedule it for. I can also choose what to prioritize when optimizing the schedule, like front-loading high-priority work and factoring in travel time. The agent considers all my recommendations and merges information across disparate systems. An optimized schedule is generated for me to review. What used to be complex and manual is now done in seconds. I apply the suggested schedule, and the technician and customer will be updated. With Scheduling Operations Agent in Dynamics 365 Field Service, managers can leverage AI to easily address unexpected scheduling changes. This reduces the delays in fixing a customer's issues and frees up time for other tasks.
All right. So what we're really after here, because we have our automated scheduling today, but what we've learned over many years of implementing is that some customers have already gone through the effort of getting to a complete autonomous scheduling. They're in great shape. Most customers, they're doing it manually still today. And then bringing them along for the ride to get from manual dragging and dropping to automated, more than a technology challenge, it's actually a change management challenge. And so what we're doing by bringing this into the user interface through the agentic flow is we're setting it up that we can bring all our make it so that customers can get from manual to as automated as you choose to get a lot easier. So as you saw in the video, step one, dispatcher takes a look, they might manually book, but then they can ask the agent and say, can you help me reschedule this technician, something went awry. Another item we're looking at a little bit later is then we want to push alerts to the dispatcher and say, we actually think you should run the agent because we're seeing that there's conflict. We're seeing that there's double bookings, or maybe you assign someone a job that they weren't qualified to go do. And so the idea of bringing it deeper into the user experience is that we're going to be encouraging dispatchers to be able to use this technology, but keep full control over whether or not they want to accept the recommendations. And ultimately, it'll make everyone a lot more comfortable to build, to leverage the agentic scheduling with a lot more comfort and with a more natural flow getting from manual to automated. And so what's coming next over the next couple months is now we're going to have the ability, you saw in the video, I can pick one technician, that's good, but we know that the real value comes when I'm trying to reassign multiples. So we're going to be enhancing the number of technicians that can be optimized with the agent, and then ultimately getting it to where you can trigger it to go autonomously from the UI as well. And so with that, I'll just close with a thank you. We have as you saw at the beginning, IDC's a great signal for us that we're moving up in the chart. The business is growing, and I thank all our customers and partners on the call. And with that, I will pass it back over.
Dan, that was great. Thank you so much. Thank you. You have a ton of questions there. I normally spend a little bit of time going through some of the questions. But I know we're a little bit behind on things. So if you have questions for Dan, feel free to add it to the chat, and Dan will get to them. But there's some really exciting updates, some things that I know people have been asking for a really long time. The mobile simplification, I think, is huge. More of the co-pilot assisted completion of the work order, I think that's going to be huge as well. So things that people have been asking for a while. So I'm really excited about what's coming. Thank you, Dan.